Hey yo, it's Brian here. Today talking about the San Francisco 49ers. As always, going to be doing my edge-to-edge videos for this game against the Seattle Seahawks happening this Sunday at Seattle. Week 17, Sunday Night Football. Very pivotal matchup for the 49ers. All they have to do is win, and they'll be number one seed. This is for all the marbles. Number one seed I just mentioned, and the NFC West title, so it would be very beneficial to the 49ers to win this game. I know they want to. They want to have that bye week because we really need it definitely for guys like D Ford / Jaquaski Tartt to come back fully healthy, ready to go, and just everybody else from the offense and defense to just not play a game because it would suck to go on the road and do it all the way to the Super Bowl. Hopefully we can just stay at home at Levi Stadium and just get that road to divisional NFC Championship game all the way to the Super Bowl in Miami. So, yep, pivotal week for the 49ers, and hopefully they do come out with the victory against Seattle and avenge their loss earlier in the year on Monday Night Football. So, yep, going to be talking about that. Hope you guys do enjoy this video. Whether you're a 49ers Seahawks fan, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get some Seattle fans into this. And, yeah, you guys are welcome to comment below on what you think. Am I right? Am I wrong? You know, all that cool stuff. That should be a fun time. Anyways, going to get the video started, but before I do, wanted to give my quick condolences to CJ Beathard. His brother got stabbed, unfortunately, a couple of days ago, so that sucks. Condolences to him. I know everyone on the team was supporting him big time, and we're definitely supporting you and Niner faithful, CJ, so hopefully everything's going all right. So that out of the way, let's get this video started, but before I do, please like and subscribe. That's going to help out a lot. Click that bell notification, you get notified of future videos. Share this channel, share this content with fellow Niner faithfuls, and yeah, let's just get this started. 49ers versus Seahawks, position edge, week 17, last one for the regular season. First up, as always, let's talk about the quarterback position. Jimmy Garoppolo versus Russell Wilson. Who has the edge for this game coming in this Sunday? If I had to give my initial edge, I'm actually going to give it to Russell Wilson. Not because Jimmy Garoppolo is a bum or anything like that. It's because Wilson, I mean, you guys seen this guy all year long. He just makes stuff happen. Mobile quarterback, very good throw of the football. He's been very improving for the past couple of years now. And yeah, I mean, what else to say? Jimmy G, clutch man. I mean, what can you say about him? But if I just give a slight edge, definitely Wilson. But Jimmy G, you want to give me the last 2 minutes? You want to give me a 2-minute drill? I can definitely have him all day. But in this case, Russell, he just makes stuff happen, and he kind of upsets me definitely, but in a good way, you know, because he's a great quarterback and very talented, and he's the big reason why he's a big threat for us this Sunday. Everyone else on the team is pretty beat up, but Wilson, he's the most consistent man in this whole team, and his offensive line sucks. I think he's one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the NFL, along with Kyler Murray. So, you know, he's been having to do it with the makeshift offensive line, and he's been doing great things all year long for the Seahawks, and that's why they're in the position that they are right now, fighting for the NFC West title. So, initial edge, Wilson, although Jimmy G, I would not be against him all day because I love that man, number 10. Next up, running back position. This is very different because the 49ers, we are our typical guys, Tevin Coleman, Matt Breida, Raheem Mostert, and Kyle Juszczyk, but the Seahawks running back crew, they have been absolutely beat up. Chris Carson and CJ Proyce, they are out for the year due to injury from the game against the Cardinals on Sunday. So, man, that is just absolutely terrible to lose two quality players on your running game to be out for the rest of the year. Rashad Penny, he was out early on in the year as well. So, I mean, running backs, they have to be looking for one. I heard Marshawn Lynch might be joining the team again, so I don't know. We'll see what happens then. But, yeah, if I had to give the initial edge, definitely San Francisco, just because, I mean, when you lose those quality running backs, that really hurts big time. But, you know, Russell Wilson and them, they could probably make a guy off the street pretty decent. But at the same time, I do love me some Mostert and Breida and Coleman. Those guys, they have been fantastic most of the year, and I can't go wrong with them on the running game. So, initial edge, San Francisco. Let's talk about the wideout position, 49ers versus Seahawks. Who to give the initial edge to? Pretty interesting case, I would say. The 49ers, they've been pretty clutch for the most part. I mean, Kendrick Bourne and Emmanuel Sanders last week against the Rams, they were just awesome. And yeah, I mean, what else to say? Deebo Samuel, Mr. Fearless guy. I love him. He's emerging as Jimmy G's favorite target, along with Sanders. The Seattle Seahawks, they have DK Metcalf. They also got Tyler Lockett, who's been kind of inconsistent all year long. Josh Gordon, he is definitely out due to PEDs or marijuana, whatever it is. It's just absolutely terrible that he's going through this situation again, and he might never play in the NFL ever again. So if I have to give my initial edge, I'm going to give it to San Francisco, not because they're the better core than the Seattle Seahawks receiving core, just because of the fact they can make plays. Yes, when they want to catch the ball, when they are consistent, they are very good wide receiving core, and we saw that against the Saints that they could be really good, but we could also see them like in Atlanta where they were just completely inconsistent. They were just a no factor. So hopefully we get the one that happened more against the Rams and the Saints, not the one against the Falcons. If we do, then I would be all right. So initial edge, San Francisco. I love me some number 17 and number 19 total. Next up, the tight end position. So let's talk about George Kittle versus Hollister. Who to give the initial edge to? Hollister, he had a great game against us in San Francisco when we met up on Monday Night Football. He kind of upset me a couple of times, but he did a really good job then, and he's been a pretty quality tight end for Russell Wilson all year long. But I mean, seriously, I have to give the edge to George Kittle. This is the one position out of everyone in this whole edge-to-edge videos all season long that I've given the edge to a certain position all year consistently, and George Kittle is the man. I mean, Mr. WWE guy, Mr. tight ends people, whatever you want to call it, and WWE champ. I can't go wrong with number 85, George Kittle. So edge, Kittle, he's an important part of our offense, and Jimmy G's almost hands down favorite target. You could talk about other guys like Sanders and Debo, but he goes to Kittle all the time, which I don't blame at all because he's one of the best in the game as a tight end. Offensive line, last up for the side of the ball, who to give the initial edge to? You know, by default, I probably would give it to San Francisco just because Seattle, they've just been so inconsistent. They also lost DeJuan Brown for the year. For the most part, he will be out for this game against us this Sunday. He might come back for the playoffs, but in this game, consistently, he is not going to be available, so that's a very big blow to their offensive line. He was a very important piece, Pro Bowler guy, but it sucks that Seattle's dealing with these injuries right now, but we've been dealing with injuries as well on the defensive side of the ball, which I will talk about in a second. So, yep, San Francisco, I mean, they have been struggling for the past couple of games now in terms of the offensive line. I mean, you saw the game against the Rams. They allowed like 5 or 6 sacks to the Rams to hit Jimmy G. That was just absolutely not a great performance, so hopefully they're going to be okay. And Jadeveon Clowney, I'm assuming he's going to be playing this game. Joe Staley better be ready for him this time because he was not prepared for him when he came back from injury. So, yep, initial edge, San Francisco, although I'm still weary of it. But both offensive lines, I'm very, very concerned about for both San Francisco and Seattle. So Jimmy G and Russell Wilson, they better be ready to take some hits because I believe some hits will be happening. So, yep, offense, mostly San Francisco, but it's more of a default just because Seattle, they've been so beat up, especially in the running back position, and I can't say anything else about that. So let's talk about the defensive side of the ball, which gets a little bit more interesting. Time for the defensive side of the ball. First up, let's talk about the D-line, 49ers versus Seahawks. Who to go with for this edge? If I had to give the initial edge, pretty difficult, I would say, because San Francisco, it's been pretty difficult for the past couple of weeks, as you all know. I mean, we haven't been able to sack the quarterback, pressure the quarterback as much. You see guys like Matt Ryan, who has only 1 sack. You see Jared Goff has no sacks. Drew Brees, he has maybe just 1 or 2 when we met up against the Saints in New Orleans. It's been pretty bad in the sack department. I wish we can get our sack totals better, but the injuries, they have been taking their toll, definitely. I mean, we all know Ronald Blair, DJ Jones, you know, everyone that's been a 49er fan that's been watching my channel, I've been repeating this all week long, and yeah, it's been pretty bad that our defensive line depth is not as good as it was early on this season just because of the injuries. Seattle's defensive line, they did a really good job against us in week 10 or week 11, whatever it was on Monday Night Football. Jadeveon Clowney just harassed Jimmy Garoppolo all game long, kind of like Aaron Donald last Saturday. But yeah, hopefully that does not happen. Hopefully Joe Staley and Mike McGlinchey can hold it down. And I think they'll do a much better job in this game to hold down Ziggy Ansah, Jadeveon Clowney, and all those guys. So I'll give my initial edge. I might give it to San Francisco, but just by a slight edge. I mean, you know, as I said, if everyone was healthy, I would hands down give it to San Francisco. But in this case, I love me Nick Bosa. I love me DeForest Buckner and them. And I hope they can pressure Wilson all day long as much as they can. The offensive line, it's kind of beat up, so hopefully they kind of take advantage of that. And yeah, so it's edge, San Francisco by a slight bit, but I don't know if I'm feeling as optimistic as usual about the defensive line for the 49ers, but I'm still going to give them the edge initially. Let's talk about the linebacking core. Seattle Seahawks versus 49ers. Who to go for the initial edge? Actually, I would give it to the Seattle Seahawks. I know Fred Warner, top middle linebacker in the league, but Bobby Wagner, he is up there with Luke Kuechly and him at the top middle linebacker in the league as well. Also, KJ Wright, he is a very respectable veteran, and he's done a great job for the Seattle Seahawks. Those two guys, they've been very consistent in their time in Seattle, so what else can you say about them? So initial edge, I'm going to give it to Seattle. Those guys, they have been balling out all year long. Although San Francisco, I can't go wrong with Fred Warner as well. But for this one, initial edge before the game, I'm going to give it to Seattle. Last up, let's talk about defensive backs. 49ers versus Seahawks. Who to go for the initial edge? A little bit interesting, I would say, because usually I would give it to San Francisco almost hands down as well because they're almost the number 1 passing defense in the league. But we have been giving up chunks of yards to other quarterbacks like Matt Ryan, you know, the guys that we've been playing for the past couple of weeks now. Seattle, they're kind of shaky as well. It's kind of a toss-up on who you want to pick. But for me, I'm going to go with Richard Sherman and those boys. I think they have been doing a pretty good job all year long, even with some injuries. But with K'Wan Williams and Sherman coming back in the Rams game, I think that was a big help, definitely. And hopefully Jaquaski Tartt can come back really, really soon. But initial edge, going to give it to San Francisco. I love me Richard Sherman. Ahkello Witherspoon, I am not falling in love with right now because he did not have the best game of his life in Los Angeles, and I know a lot of you guys pointed that out. I didn't point it out personally, but I know you guys did because, yeah, he was not having a good day against the Rams. So hopefully if Emmanuel Moseley steps in with Richard Sherman, which they should do, that 2 rotation right there, then I believe that the 49ers defensive backs, they could do a really good job. Marcel Harris, he's been doing a pretty good job as well. He hasn't missed too many tackles. He's made some nice pivotal plays against the Rams. He almost had an interception, but not quite there. So hopefully he does get his interception against Russell Wilson, and we'll see what happens then. But initial edge, San Francisco, I love that defensive backfield. They have a lot of talent, and they can work well when they can. That's it, guys, for the defensive side of the ball. Let's go to special teams, kind of a underrated part that we don't really talk about too much, and sometimes I kind of gloss it over sometimes in these edge-to-edge videos. So San Francisco versus Seattle, who to give the initial edge to? Actually, I'm going to give it to San Francisco just because Robbie Gould will be playing in this game. It's not going to be Chase McLaughlin as much as he played really well in that game against Seattle. That last kick, that really cost us big time because we lost in Seattle in overtime, and hopefully if Robbie Gould was playing that game, I think it would have been a much better outcome. I think he would have made that kick. I'm going to give it to Robbie Gould and them, and also special teams players like Marcel Harris, Raheem Mostert, Ross Dwelley. They've been making some big plays on it. So, yep, edge San Francisco, although Seattle, they have a pretty decent special teams crew as well, but I'm going to give it to my boys in San Francisco. Last up, coaching, Kyle Shanahan versus Pete Carroll. Who do we give the initial edge to? Actually, I don't know. I mean, a lot of you guys would say Kyle Shanahan. I would like to say Kyle Shanahan as well, but Pete Carroll, I might give him the slight edge just because, one, experience, but two, that he can motivate guys. He just, I don't know. There's just something about him that the players love to play for him, and I don't blame him at all. And he's been doing it, for the past couple of seasons now, ever since he got into head coaching for the Seahawks, and I don't know what else to say. I mean, to have a beat-up roster, to have everyone out for a period of time, to have people out for the rest of the year, to be able to motivate the depth players, I think that's a very beneficial thing and a good thing for the Seahawks in general. So if I had to give the initial edge, I would give it to Pete Carroll. He's done a great job all his tenure in Seattle, and I can't go wrong without that. Although Kyle Shanahan, I do love me some Shanahan, definitely. But yep, that's it, guys. Initial edges, almost evenly matched, maybe a little bit more San Francisco just because Seattle, they're dealing with a lot of problems almost everywhere, all sides of the ball. So, we'll see what San Francisco can do. And, us, we have a lot of injuries on defense. So hopefully we could just win this game in Seattle and have a bye week and get everybody as healthy as possible. That's it, guys. Please let me know who you guys got for initial edges. I'd like to hear what you have to say in the comments below. If you guys like this, please like and subscribe. That's going to help out a lot. I'll be catching you guys up tomorrow for predictions for the regular season. I'll see y'all then. Bye, guys. Love y'all. Y'all have a great rest of your night. Go Niners all day.